Memories are what make up a person. If you stripped someone of their memories, then what are they but a shell of a person? Empty inside, but with the same exterior. This is what dementia does to people. With no known cure, dementia is one of the worst, most terrifying fates. It is a cognitive decline which results in loss of memory and extreme confusion. Most people think it's like forgetting a person's name, but it's more like forgetting who or what a person is. It brings you to a confusion so thick you can't perform basic functions. A musician named James Leland Kirby, under the label of The Caretaker, is the creator of the album I'll be discussing today called Everywhere at the End of Time. Everywhere at the End of Time is The Caretaker's most famous and final project, and it simulates the feeling of dementia. The music feels just like the mind is decaying. Everywhere at the End of Time is 6.5 hours long and split up into 6 stages corresponding with dementia. Now, before I go into detail, I'd first like to note, if you're planning to listen to this album, do it before you watch this video. If you don't, that's fine, but it may take away from your experience of this album. So without any further ado, let's jump right in. While there are only 6 stages for Everywhere at the End of Time, there are 7 stages of dementia. So just for the record, stage 1 of Everywhere at the End of Time corresponds with stage 2 of dementia, and so on. The reason for this is because the first stage of dementia has 0 effects and symptoms. In fact, you at least have stage 1 dementia, and so does everyone else. Okay, now that we've gotten that cleared up, let's talk about the music. This entire record is made up of distorted samples from 1920s through 40s ballroom music. The Caretaker's description of this stage is, "Here we experience the first signs of memory loss. This stage is most like a beautiful daydream, the glory of old age and recollection, the last of the great days." The song titles reflect a fulfilled life and the acceptance of death. It's just a burning memory. We don't have many days. Things that are beautiful and transient. My heart will stop in joy. Another thing of note is the album's artwork done by the artist Ivan Seal. In this stage, it appears to be a rolled up newspaper, but slowly, the artwork will fall out of touch with reality. Alone, this stage is calm and peaceful, but it only gets worse from here. The description for stage 2 is, "The second stage is a self-realization and awareness that something is wrong, with a refusal to accept that. More effort is made to remember so memories can be more long-form with a little more deterioration in quality." The overall personal mood is generally lower than the first stage, at a point before confusion starts setting in. This is similar to stage 1, but darker and more distorted. It sounds like music that's trying to comfort, but something is wrong. The song titles are also darker. A losing battle is raging, surrendering to despair, last moments of pure recall, denial unraveling, and the way ahead feels lonely. The artwork on here, just like the music, is recognizable, but off. It's of course a flower pot, but it doesn't look right. It looks like a slightly confused, forgetful person is trying to remember what a flower pot looks like. And again, it only goes downhill. Stage 3's description is, "Here we are presented with some of the last coherent memories before confusion fully rolls in, and the gray mists form and fade away. Finest moments have been remembered. The musical flow in places is more confused and tangled. As we progress, some singular memories become more disturbed, isolated, broken, and distant. These are the last embers of awareness before we enter the post-awareness stages." The music is recognizable, but it sounds so sad and wrong. Again, like it's trying to be comforting, but it knows it's too late to go back and that you can't do anything about it. You can only forget from now on as you enter into moderate cognitive decline. The track titles express the distress that comes in this stage. "And heartbreaks, sublime beyond loss, burning despair does ache, an empty bliss beyond this world," which is the title of one of the Caretaker's previous projects, and "mournful camaraderie." The artwork for this album appears to be some sort of plant. It seems to symbolize the distress that the patient feels in this stage with how uncontrolled it looks. This is the last stage of recognizable music and memory before confusion. Remember how it used to be music with recognizable melodies and some creepy static distortion? Well, those days are gone. As per the description, post-awareness stage 4 is where serenity and the ability to recall singular memories gives way to confusions and horror. It's the beginning of an eventual process where all memories begin to become more fluid through entanglements, repetition, and rupture. This stage is that static music, but skipping around, confused. Sometimes it's just noise, sometimes it sounds like trying to remember something that your decaying brain can't. From now on, the stages will only have 4 songs, each being 20 minutes or over. The titles of Stage 4 sound like somebody else, like a doctor, is naming them instead of the patient. Post-awareness confusions. Post-awareness confusions. Temporary bliss state, and then post-awareness confusions. The second post-awareness confusions track has a specific part that is haunting. Sirens. These feel as if you're trying so hard to hold onto a memory, and it sounds like a very unpleasant memory. Then it moves on to a temporary bliss state, which isn't as blissful as I was hoping, before resuming the confusion. The album cover resembles a person that the patient is struggling to remember. On a side note, this is one of my favorite album covers ever. Stage 5 is like Stage 4, but more confused and blurry. Its description reads, Post-awareness Stage 5 confusions and horror. More extreme entanglements, repetition, and rupture can give way to calmer moments. An unfamiliar may sound and feel familiar. Time is often spent only in the moment, leading into isolation. This stage has the confusion of the previous, but covered in static. Occasionally, you can hear some melodies, and sometimes there will be more than one melody, which heightens the idea that you're grasping onto something. Memories that don't make sense because they are all mixed together into a mess of sounds and static. The tracks again read like medical diagnoses. Advanced plaque entanglements. Advanced plaque entanglements. Synapse retrogenesis. And sudden time regression into isolation. The album cover is unrecognizable. How could this get any worse? Post-awareness Stage 6 is without description. Before I talk about what this final stage sounds like, I'd like to read you the track titles. A confusion so thick you forget forgetting. A brutal bliss beyond this empty defeat. Long decline is over. And finally, place in the world fades away. The music in this stage is long drone noises. It's like disturbing white noise. The patient's brain is completely decayed now. Occasionally, there will be a hint of an instrumental memory, but it'll be over quickly. The final track is one of, if not the saddest piece of music I've ever heard. But before we get into that, let's talk about the album cover. This one isn't confused or unintelligible. It's simply blank. It's a canvas, and there's supposed to be a painting in the blue square, but it's completely empty. Just like the mind of someone in this stage. It's almost over, and they are completely unaware. The final track, Place in the World Fades Away, has some intelligible music now. It sounds like the subtle swelling of instruments, and then it stops. This part was probably the saddest thing I've heard in a song ever. I'm not going to play it now, but if you've listened to this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The music stops and switches from static drones and swelling sounds to an intelligible melody. This is speculated to represent terminal lucidity, which is the short return of consciousness before it all ends. The final 5 minutes have a distorted choir singing, the first time there is singing on this entire album, but none of the words are intelligible. However, the song it samples was found, and it is a choir singing the words, O Jesu Christ, thy cross doth call me. O Jesu Christ, thy cross doth call me. For thou didst give thy life for mine. Thou didst give thy life for mine. And ending with, thy sacred heart for me is breaking. Thy sacred heart for me is breaking. For thee, my love, at last is waking. For thee, my love is waking. My life forevermore be thine. My life forevermore be thine. Before it cuts to complete silence.
While this may be a sobering, horrifying message, it is also a message of hope in trying times.